Activists Fight Evil. Chapter 1. Fighting Evil Essays. Fight Evil 1. The facts are: 1. Greedy, selfish people control our governments to increase power and money for themselves. 2. A part of this power is to control the people. A big part of this is through massive indoctrination, which is conducted from the formal establishment's structures like school, religion, patriotism, capitalism promoted through pop culture entertainment, and the fake knowledge they teach us, pretending it's great wisdom. The social sciences feed us lies about how we're not responsible for our weaknesses. Everything negative is caused by biochemical imbalances that we can't control, or something that happened when we were kids that is affecting us now. It's all crap geared to make us docile wimps who go to them for answers and drugs. 3. They're big on national security to the point where the government through the police have great powers to scoop people up and imprison them without formal charges. 4. Pop culture entertainment and other frivolous ventures like professional sports are geared to pacify us and make us eternal consumers who want to eat good-tasting junk food, be entertained by meaningless stuff, and buy the crap they advertise on TV. 5. Wealthy people don't want to help poor people move up to a better lifestyle because they need scared, poor people to work menial jobs at their businesses without complaining. They want them to be thankful they even have a job, even if it's crummy and the boss makes 1,000 times more than they do. 6. Some elitists called the shadow government can control economies very easily by changing interest rates. If the atmosphere is manipulated to create low interest rates and easy loans, it's happy, prosperous times. If the interest rates rise and the bankers are very conservative about making loans, there's a recession. These conditions are created by people. They are not the random fluctuations of the marketplace. There's really only one hope for the people. They have to unite and accept the fact that the governments we have now called representative democracies are run by the big business interests who fund the people who own and run the big political parties. Politicians are the lowest people in this hierarchy. They're the lucky outsiders who get nominated by the political party owners. If they win an election, they are now elitists. They get a good salary for this part-time job. All they have to do is what the party leaders tell them and shut up for the rest of the time. Fight Evil 2. Why should anyone fight to change any government? If we have a government anywhere that does not take care of its poorest people, then that government is a failure and must be changed. There are homeless people in all of the wealthiest nations right now. There is something seriously wrong with governments when they build big military planes and ships because of some fantasy they have of a future war and don't take care of their own people as we live right here, right now, day by day. The idea of parliaments made up of politicians representing the people and working in their best interests doesn't work because politicians are out for themselves in general. Many are vain, petty, and easily corruptible, plus the main purpose of the political parties is to fight each other in the hopes of winning the power to rule the land exclusively without interference by the opposition politicians, rather than to fight to do what's right to help the people no matter what. Politicians are middlemen called representatives. We don't need fake representatives anymore who exist to get re-elected and make money by using their government power to help big companies. We, the people, can run ourselves online. Our local representatives can be a system of ombudsmen in offices all across the land who are always there as objective civil servants bound by law to help the people as independent advocates on federal government matters. The paradigm shift of governments will go from politicians to the people because it's the natural evolution with the new technology we have. Elected chambers were adequate in the past to give us the illusion that we participated in the government, but now we can instantaneously vote on any bill online that the government comes up with. I don't want somebody to collect a salary and pretend to represent me if I can easily vote on every bill and even create my own bills that everybody can vote on. This is the big idea right here. We have to get over the brainwash that we need elected assemblies to rule us. We don't. We just need one elected leader on a short leash or a small council creating ideas and making decisions directly with the people over the internet. Government will be like a big meeting hall with everybody in society on the internet creating and deciding on our lives all together. People in general feel powerless about the government even though we supposedly live in democracies. With true democracy, if you got a beef with the government, you go to your ombudsman to see if he or she can help you, you draft up a bill and post it at town hall for us to vote on, and you also post it at forum, which will be the government website chat line available for everybody to see, so if people are really angry, they post hundreds of comments on there every day. The media and the president should pick that up. If you're a big activist group or a big company, the way to get access is to send your people to every ombudsman office in the land to try to get help, draft up a bunch of ideas for the town hall and forum, and talk about your cause in the media. This is better than some company guy paying a lobbyist who buys off some politicians. Right now, angry people have nowhere to go except for protest. In the early days of democracy, there were no big political parties. Individuals presented ideas out of a personal sense of nobility and goodness. When they started forming political parties, it degenerated into a fight, every party trying to get majority power to the point of regularly using Machiavellian tactics. Whoever funds the political parties and the politicians controls them. Politicians help themselves way before they help the people. At the very least, they don't deserve those salaries and perks for what they do in those part-time jobs pretending to be working hard to help improve life. Poverty and homelessness are still rampant. The solution is very easy. Put the money there rather than on big useless government agencies. All those committees in the chambers try to make it seem like they're doing profound, advanced work. They're not. Every idea can be boiled down into one simple statement. Either vote yes or no. That's it. If it's too complicated, then there's BS in there. Any bill should be no more than a page long. The leader can deal with ironing out the details. His/her job is to present big ideas that we, the people, vote on. When they fill it up with lots of minor stuff, that's the lobbyists and the corporations talking. There will be plenty of debate on the ideas. The media will discuss them, plus we have both the town hall and the forum where anybody can look in on to see what the people are thinking. True democracy is a fight for the future well-being of the world. Enough of us have to unite and change our governments so that we control them. One measly vote every 4 years between two political parties is fraud democracy. Fight evil. 3. We have an entrenched system in place made up of politicians, bankers, oil companies, and industrialists who don't want anybody threatening the control they have behind the illusion of democracy they present. The folly of most politicians is that they're ordinary people who all of a sudden get celebrity status that goes to their heads. Now they're elitists with other elitists telling them how the system really works and at the same time subtly ordering them to play along, collect their perks and shut up. If they don't play along, their party will not nominate them as the candidate in the next election. That's how you shut politicians up and make them party clones. Noble philosopher kings are immune to manipulation from others. There are very few of them around, even though almost everybody thinks they are one. Why did JFK get shot? Was he a philosopher king who wanted to make big changes that would have taken a lot of power and money away from some big hots? In every country, there are hundreds to thousands of activist organizations, thousands of progressive journalists, and lots of concerned citizens. You all have the power to change your government if you unite. A bunch of people unite and push for the True Democracy referendum relentlessly until we get it at a government website like truedemocracy.gov, then we'll vote on it and hopefully vote it in. The problem right now is that everybody is brainwashed to elected chamber representative democracies. We need enough visionaries to step up and push for true democracy, then once we get it, after a few years, it will be the new common way we run our governments. The politicians in those chambers make way too much money to give a damn about trying to fix this broken world we live in. They're living the good life. Not one has any sense of urgency and passion to help the downtrodden. The fight for freedom has been everywhere from Gandhi to Walesa to Mandela. I'm free to a certain point to live my little life, but I have no say in creating laws or how government money is spent. I want a government where all the military and national security apparatus is gone and all that money is used for housing, education, industry, etc. I believe I live in a bountiful world where there could be enough for everyone if we all share the wealth, but we don't, so the injustice and oppression goes on. Martin Luther nailed 95 theses on a church door in Wittenberg, Germany to protest the hypocrisy and corruption of the Catholic Church. Benjamin Franklin, Thomas Jefferson, and George Washington drafted the Declaration of Independence to rid of themselves of the tyranny of British taxes. Chaucer wrote about hypocrisy and corruption 1,000 years ago. They were all men alone in societies that were indoctrinated to another way of life. They had courage because somewhere in their souls they knew they were right. When I was a kid, I knew representative democracy was a fraud, or at least a fixed system when one guy gave me a red badge and another guy gave me a blue badge. I was supposed to be the little dummy that said to myself, this is democracy. I get to pick between two guys from two big political parties that take turns running the government. What if average Joe citizen wants to get together with a few of his friends and write up some ideas that they think are pretty good to improve their country? Why can't they run to lead the nation on an equal footing with the two big political parties based on their ideas? What if some wise old professors or a group of seasoned journalists get together and want to improve the country? They have absolutely no chance to do anything even if they are the wisest people with the best ideas. Democracy is everybody having an equal opportunity to lead the country or presenting ideas at the table. They tell me I get to cast one vote every 4 years between two guys. Is this a democracy? Are we that stupid that we take it like a bunch of idiotic sheep? I studied a lot of history looking for the answers to life, particularly the past 100 years. My conclusion is that it always comes down to people with power and money who want to keep it and strengthen their position while keeping everybody else powerless, often while pretending to help them. Illusion is a big part of the con game being perpetrated on the people. We don't need phony experts pretending they know how to run a society better than we know ourselves. The right way to rule is obvious. Help everybody move up to at least a modestly comfortable standard of living. This will stimulate the economy and the inspired power of the people. It's not about war, big bureaucracy, or even free trade. We should manufacture most of the goods we use right where we live. We, the people, have a chance to be the first societies ever that control our governments directly. We will make mistakes. We will learn as we go along. If we want true democracy, we are going to have to unite, demand the right to vote on it, then vote it in. Pete Seeger, the civil rights folk singer, sang, "Which side are you on?" Thomas Jefferson said, "Dissent is the highest form of patriotism." A change from representative democracy will eliminate several hundred politicians and give that power to us. There will still be those few fiscally conservative elected leaders at the top bound by the budget, with the Auditor General watching them to make sure that the country maintains some kind of standard of economic soundness, even though I have issues with the way they run the money supply, which is another con game, but I won't touch that here. Milk said, "I have a dream." His dream was equality for everybody. In his speech, he said he wanted to see white kids and Negro kids playing together. They organized heavily to create that big civil rights march in 1963 that I saw at pbs.org. It was called the March. The battle cry was "We shall overcome." The people elected a black American president on the campaign slogan of "Yes we can," the presumption being that this black man understood the plight of poor people and would help them. Look at the ghettos now. There is no change. He became Mr. Military gung-ho macho man. Somebody manipulated him. They killed JFK. We don't really know what's going on. President Clinton said that by the time anyone gets to be president, somebody else is already running the country. The Occupy movement started because there are a few people, the 1%, who have enough money to last them 100 lifetimes while billions barely get by. Case in point, Walmart employees fighting for a higher minimum wage while their CEO makes $20 million a year. The fight is about rich versus poor, arrogant smugness versus the common man without a silver spoon in his mouth. Material excess is praised as a virtue while millions have no hope to better their lives. Meanwhile, our politicians collect their nice paychecks and live in that fantasy elitist bubble of entitlement surrounding their government chamber while pretending to care about us. The proof of their insincerity is that within 2 miles of any Congress building or Parliament building in any country, there are desperate, homeless poor people. The only thing stopping us is us. We, the people, are the government. We don't need all those politicians. Politics right now is a big money-making vehicle for politicians. Government control goes from the very serious to the ridiculous. I stopped riding a bike when they passed bike helmet laws. The province of Ontario, Canada passed a law saying carbon monoxide detectors are mandatory for every home. What carbon monoxide manufacturer paid which politicians off? Some people can barely afford to get by, and now the government tells them they have to buy this gadget by law, as if the human race couldn't survive before these things were invented. Some people don't want the government telling them what to do. This is why we have to get rid of politicians. We can't let them pass laws like this. If the people voted on this, they would vote it down. Fight Evil 4. My politician sends me Christmas cards and occasional mail with her picture on it, smiling, seemingly having a fun time. All this stuff is paid for by the taxpayer. It's all meaningless campaign propaganda. It doesn't help anyone. She's just trying to get re-elected. On her Christmas card, she invited her constituents to join her for a skate at the Metro Center. I'm sure the taxpayers are paying to rent the facility. Meanwhile, there's a homeless shelter about 3 blocks away. She doesn't seem too concerned about them. She sends me a dinky calendar with her smiling on the cover. Who paid for that? What's that all about? We, the people, are paying for these scumbag politicians to waste our money to advertise to us so we can be stupid enough to vote them in the next time. That's not right, to use taxpayer money to send out personal marketing crap and call it representative business. Does she give a damn about the poor people? She looks like she thinks she's a local celebrity, part of the cool in crowd. This is what our fake democracies are about, these phony politicians thinking they're cool shit. They should be desperately helping the downtrodden. It's screwed. Are we that stupid that we let it go on? I don't want her petty crap trying to win the election for the salary. If she's got any real sense of helping people, do something right now to help suffering, desperate people. We don't need to pay 500 politicians an excessive amount of money to do almost nothing but act superior. They have not solved pain and suffering and won't as long as they're living the good life. Get rid of them. We elect one leader from anybody that wants to run in the country based on their list of 20 best ideas, not just political party leaders. We then vote on those ideas. We hope we vote a leader in who focuses on the needs of the people and solves them quickly, not like this crap we have now masquerading as democracy. The government should focus directly on helping the lowest people in society with a sense of urgency. There should be nothing else but helping people live better lives. We should get rid of all those delusions about the military, national security and foreign affairs to tend to our people right here, right now. All the great wisdom ever created by human beings comes down to tending to your own affairs where you live right now. Don't stick your nose into anything beyond that. This is why I say get rid of politicians en masse. We, the people, will put measures into place to make sure that anybody who ever gets into a desperate situation will have a place to sleep and a system to help them find meaningful employment. That should be the #1 government priority, but it isn't. That's why we have to change this broken system that turns all politicians into comfortable elitists as soon as they're elected. They're insulated in their easy world while there are people getting evicted from apartments every day because they don't have a job and can't pay rent. The fight is to get rid of bureaucracy, which includes politicians, and focus on the few big ideas that we need to make us all modestly prosperous. Get away from personalities and focus on ideas to help people. Life is urgent, or at least it should be. The politicians like to do their consultations, committees, and sober second thought as they call it. Screw that crap. Present any idea, like should we build modest housing to end homelessness? The people have an intuitive spiritual sense about how important and serious it is. They do a quick online vote and we move straight to action. We don't need political chambers. They just screw everything up and focus on what's good for themselves. It's in their best interest to drag everything out because it puts forth the illusion that they are necessary and working hard as part of the process, but it's all theater. Give me the top 20 most urgent ideas for any nation right now. I can do a democratic vote by the people online in one day. What the hell do we need a bunch of politicians for except for some top guy to dance around and act like he or she has some kind of wisdom? You can see the contrast of life in society all the time. It's like Charles Dickens said in The Tale of Two Cities. It's always the best of times for the rich and the worst of times for the poor. On TV, they show politicians smiling at some gala, then on talk radio, some desperate person calls up on the edge of being evicted and homeless. What is the most noble thing the human race could possibly do? How can any of us righteously live in two worlds side by side at the same time, enjoying our petty comforts while there is so much pain and suffering everywhere? That's why I don't accept the casual attitude of politicians. If you're real, you're there to solve misery. That's it. I say elect one philosopher king leader and do the rest ourselves. Are there any great revolutionaries left that give a damn about creating a better world, not just pretending to? I believe that the concept of representative politicians for the two big political parties in any nation is a lie, because political parties are for-profit corporations. Politicians are executives in those corporations out for themselves. There is not one with any sense of urgency in helping the people. It's the nature of politicians in any elected chamber to wheel and deal to get what they can for themselves with two major motives. 1. Get re-elected. 2. Do favors for party insiders, bigs, hots and rich people to make money, networking connections, and move up the corporate political ladder. In any nation, 20 new ideas a year to improve life is plenty for the people to work on. We don't need 500 politicians to come up with a few good ideas every year. The people are willing to do it for free. Just set up a simple government town hall website asking for new ideas. There's the end of politicians. It's that easy. If any issue is big or urgent, like the decision to go to war or the fight over the minimum wage, put it to a vote online by the people right away. It's quick and simple. It gets rid of all the crap. Somebody has to tell the people of the world that politicians are an unnecessary evil. That's my message. Wipe them out. The people will rule over the internet. It's like we have the two main opposing sides on the media activist scene playing out a charade. Nobody really wants to change the system to help improve life because they're living comfortable lives. They pretend to fight for justice. It's a money racket. The media outlets make money through advertising. Some activist groups are well funded by big foundations. Underneath the facade, many people posing as activists, advocates, and radicals are just well-paid people living comfortable lives with no interest in really helping people. My fight is twofold. 1. What exactly do the several hundred politicians in any country do to help the people that justifies their paychecks? Some journalist should make a list of all the laws passed in any given year that help the people directly, then we'll know in a minute if these few laws are worth the hundreds of millions of dollars we pay for politicians. I want the people to replace these elected chambers by creating ideas that we all vote on. I want the people to vote on every big idea the one elected leader puts out. 2. My big existential problem in life is the two worlds we live in side by side, with one group of people living in excessive comfort while another group lives in poverty. This is not the result of a capitalist system where people earn money based on merit. A lot of business owners work hard and treat workers fairly, but a lot of them exploit workers and customers. The world is abundant. The poverty starts when some people take way more than they need while others have almost nothing. The system is geared to keep poor people down. Some people can't make it on their own, like disabled people, starving artists, nonconformists, etc. I believe any government anywhere must have as its first priority the moral obligation to provide the modest basics for everyone, which is at least a room with food and medical care. We have no safety net for anyone. Many great people in history fought against poverty. I'm thinking of Charles Dickens fighting poverty even though he was wealthy enough to do whatever he wanted. Leo Tolstoy asked, how can anyone live in frivolous splendor while they know people are starving somewhere? John Steinbeck's Grapes of Wrath illustrated the extreme poverty and oppression during the 1930s. Woody Guthrie died young singing about the poor man. I was listening to the Latina guy on Dennis Bernstein's radio show Flashpoints at Pacifica.org tell his life story. By the grace of God, there go I. We are the people. Someday we will have a government without politicians or rich guys where everybody can create ideas and vote on them. Any government can solve poverty in a minute. Take all that money spent on the military, national security, foreign affairs and all the other silly agencies and use it to build up the nation for the people. Nothing much has changed despite 500 years of representative democracy. It's still the few hundred politicians with the wealthy business owners controlling everything, trying to keep everybody else poor and struggling so they're easy to manage and too busy working to survive to unite. Suppose 1 million people show up at a government square in some country. They demand a true democracy referendum. It will be set up online. There is power in large numbers of people. People can unite and show solidarity in many ways. We, the people, have that power if a lot of us choose to come together to demand a referendum. We have to get over these brainwashed yokes we're living under, like the idea that we need politicians. We don't. We, the people, can run the government online, and the idea that we need military forces. We don't. Just mind your own business, tend your own garden, stay out of other people's affairs. Nobody is going to attack North America, especially if we become peaceful nations with no imperialist military forces. It's a huge land mass, cold for half the year, full of independent-minded people. It would be too hard for anybody to invade us, so why do we pretend we need a big national security infrastructure? We all know the cliché about insanity being doing the same thing over and over again expecting a different result. We keep electing politicians to our chambers with the promise of better days ahead, but it always goes back to the same old patronage and corruption. We, the people, are the government, but we're so pacified, brainwashed, and scared that we have made the government a separate entity that dominates us. We have to get the guts to take the government back from these few hundred elitists that bully us into thinking they are superior to us and yield power that can hurt us. We try to fight them.